Yeah, a couple of Englishmen. Mark Ogden joins us. Archie Rhind-Tutt as well. Archie, you were at the game yesterday. What is the sentiment around Gareth Southgate? Because let's face it, if you spoke to those England fans and said, look, Southgate is going to take you to 3 semi-finals in major tournaments when he took over, you'd be like, wow, this man is a god. However, not quite seen as that.
It wasn't seen or felt that way in the ground yesterday, Dan, because as Gareth Southgate went to make that triple substitution after England went a goal down, I just saw fans fuming at him for the fact that it had taken that long for him to react. And I think that the point you make about the semi-finals is valid. The difference is, all these England fans are club fans as well. They follow their team, whether it's in the Premier League or in the lower divisions as well. And the thing is, they have seen what these players are individually capable of with their clubs. And that is the important bit of the narrative that I think gets left out, because they know that the capabilities of these players is much higher than what they've seen under Gareth Southgate when it comes to England going forward. And I think that there is a certain hierarchy in the attack, for example, where you can see Harry Kane, Jude Bellingham, Phil Foden and Bukayo Saka not exactly being on the same wavelength. And I think that Gareth Southgate's struggle to get the most out of them has caused a lot of frustration amongst England fans, because they just think that the quality of football that they're seeing should be a bit better, even if they are still very much enjoying, as I can tell you by the amount of beer I had covered over me yesterday, how far they've gone in the tournament. But the telling moment for me of how there's not really a connection between the England fans and Southgate was, as Sweet Caroline was blazing out around the stadium after the win, Southgate went over to the England fans and started trying to fist pump and really celebrate. And usually, I've seen it in club football, if there's a connection between the coach and the fans, there's this little extra roar and you see the fans lean in a bit towards the coach. And that just did not happen.
I want to go to Oggy in a moment, but I want to go for you, Stevie, first as a former coach. Do you feel sorry for him at all?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think the reason I feel sorry is the personal stuff, because when you're a coach, it's open
season.
You're open season, really, when the team's not doing well. But as long as it sticks to football matters, then you have to take it on the chin. Yeah. You know, and to be fair to Gareth Southgate, he's had a long time getting patted on the back.
Right.
And it's unusual to see him getting the pelt as he's getting now. But you can't say that he doesn't deserve it. At the end of the day, his job is, yes, to win games, but you've got to provide some sort of formula, some sort of entertainment. You've got to give your supporters something to cheer about. And that's part of your job. And also part of your job is, whether it's Harry Kane, who's your captain, if they're not playing well, if they're not doing the job, you've got to have the strength of character to play somebody else. You've got a squad of 23 with some fantastic strikers on it that haven't seen the field pretty much. You've got to make a decision. You can't just keep throwing them out, hoping something's going to click. And you can't argue that Foden and Bellingham and Kane and Shaka haven't gelled well together. Well, again, part of your job is to make it gel. You've got to figure out whatever talent all your players have that you have available, who do I put together that's going to gel? Not, well, I can't leave Harry Kane out.
Right.
Because if you start doing that, then you've no chance. And it kind of smells a little bit like that.
Does it smell like that to you, Oggy?
It does a little bit. I think over recent tournaments we've seen England captains like David Beckham, Wayne Rooney and now Harry Kane. It's almost like the armband gives you some sort of immunity from being dropped. And I think the situation with Kane is that, you know, he ended last season as the top scorer in the Bundesliga, so you can't say that he's a player that's coming to the end. He's not. He's still young enough to come back, but he doesn't look fit. Because yesterday his movement against Switzerland was non-existent. And, you know, people are saying, well, he doesn't get the chances, that he needs to score goals, but you have to move to get the chances. You know, if you're not moving very well or you're playing, 20, 30 yards too deep, you're not where you should be. So he's not helping the team right now. And I think, Gareth Southgate in the past has made big calls. I think at the outset, he dropped Joe Hart from the World Cup squad in 2018. That was a big call. He dropped Rooney pretty soon. People like Theo Walcott, even that was a big call at the time. So he's never been shy of doing that. You know, he didn't take Jack Grealish, Marcus Rashford, but Harry Kane, like I say, with the captain's armband, it does seem to give players maybe a tournament too long sometimes to be dropped. But I think as soon as he went off, or just maybe slightly prior, they just looked a bit more lively. You know, Cole Palmer came, Eberechi Eze, just much more freshness. So I do think that Southgate does need to look into it. That is his big decision. He's got some big decisions to make. Mark Guehi, he's back from suspension. Does he come back in? Does Luke Shaw start? Does he play 3 at the back? Does he go for 4 at the back? But I think the big question is, does Harry Kane start? And I think he will start, but I don't think he should.
What do you think, Macca?
I think he'll start. Do
you think he should?
Well, if I was Ivan Toney or if I was Ollie Watkins, I'd be upset, you know. But he will go for his tried and trusted method because he always has done. You know, the starting 11 the other day, albeit I said this yesterday, albeit he went to 5 at the back or 3 at the back, whatever you call it. It wasn't. It was the same personnel. They just shifted slightly to the left. Trippier went further forward, didn't offer much as a left wing back, and they only really started playing when he had to make the decisions. He had to be reactive. He wasn't proactive. He was reactive. We're down. Let's get everybody on the pitch and try and hope something comes off. And you know, I don't agree with some of the personal criticism he's having, and some of it has been terrible. But that's a different context. Again, we speak about it now, social media, podcasts. There's people out there trying to sell things left, right and centre. So I can see why it's got personal, and I don't agree with that. But we want England to win, and if they don't win, we'll be upset about how they have played. Because they haven't used the Ezes, they haven't used the Cole Palmers, they haven't used the Tonys, the Anthony Gordons. Otherwise, what's the point of taking them?
Yeah.
You know, I hope Luke Shaw's fit because we need him to be fit and to be able to play 90 minutes in a big game. But I'd like to see the starting 11 change from how it's been because I don't think we are good enough the way we start games.
Okay, am I being a bit cynical in all of the compliments that Jimmy Floyd-Hasselbank seems to have had, Gareth Southgate as well, for getting this team to be prime penalty takers, when if you look at the 5 who took penalties, it just happens to be the fact that they are 5 main penalty takers for their clubs. So surely you didn't really have to do too much. Just go on, just take it.
Oh yeah, all this science nonsense. You know, it's basically plays a good technique. Sometimes scores, sometimes miss. The goalkeeper pulls off a save. It's just, you know, Jordan Pickford had the directions of the Swiss penalty takers on his bottle, and sometimes they went the right way, sometimes they didn't. You know, it's about keeping your head in that situation. It must be the most intense, unforgiving situation, and sometimes even the best players in the world can't score a penalty. We saw Harry Kane in the World Cup in 2022 putting over the bar. So I don't think it's much down to what they do on the training pitch. It's just how they deal with it at the time. I might be wrong. I mean, Macca might disagree. I know he's taking shootout penalties.
I agree with you, mate. We saw Messi miss one the other day, didn't we?
Yeah,
you know,
I'm
exactly the same as you. You know, the fact that we had really good penalty takers to step up the other day, I had total faith in them because I've seen them score them in the Premier League week in, week out. That was the only reason. And as you rightly said, you have to do your homework. Pickford's got all the things on, but he saved the worst penalty, which was hit right at him by Akanji.
Yeah.
He didn't get close to any of the others.
No.
Even though he's got this so-called cheat sheet. So it's just doing extra homework, actually. It looks cool, but we all know it's...
Well, let's ask the goalkeeper, shall we?
It's nonsense.
You're all harsh. But first of all...
Do you think Sommer had a cheat sheet about all the England... Of course he did. He never got near any of them.
First of all, I've made this point before. I don't understand the length of your list. You have... Jordan Pickford has a list of 18 penalty takers on his bottle. Well, I guarantee you, 12 of those haven't taken a penalty this season.
Can I ask you about the fake right dive left?
Well, it's not my water bottle, so I don't know why you're asking me.
That is exactly what he did, though, didn't he? He jumped right and then dived left, and he still never stopped it.
To that, you know, to the point about that homework, most of those names on that bottle would not have taken a penalty in the last 3 seasons,
right?
And we've seen it. Last round, we were talking about Diego Costa for Portugal, who did not have a list. Yeah. And he says his technique is, I just go on how I feel in the moment. I look at the player, walk up, and he saves the 3 penalties. And then all of a sudden, now against England, he doesn't get it right. So each keeper has their likes, their dislikes, how they do things, and how they prefer. And this has been Jordan Pickford's, but I don't think it's any different or any better or worse than any other goalkeeper's kind of approach.
So we're saying no big deal, pretty much.
Yeah, I've been saying that for some time.
Of course it is. And it's actually not really in the goalie's hands. Because at the end of the day, if the technique and the pace on the ball and where you put it, if you get that right as the penalty taker, it doesn't matter if the goalie gets it. He's not getting it.
Could you have done what Ivan Toney did?
No.
How impressive is that?
Impressive's not the word.
Yeah, okay.
It's weird.
That's how Dwight York used to take his penalties like that. Dwight used to take his penalties that way.
It's not as impressive as Trent smashing it in on the last one.
Really?
That's how he takes his penalties. Right. Everybody's got their own way of taking it, whether it's a stutter, whether it's stopping, whether it's this, whether it's that. And as he said, the Ivan Toney one is very brave because he doesn't take any run up and he always just places it either side of the goalie without looking at the ball.
He's mental.
How do you deal with that as a goalkeeper?
I'm not sure. That comes down to timing. And as I say, Dwight York used to take his penalties exactly the same. Didn't look at the ball. He was waiting for the goalkeeper to move. And as soon as the goalkeeper moved, he could put it either side. And that's the issue in dealing with that kind of penalty. How you get your timing just right. How do you just wait for as long as it takes? That's the difficult part for a goalkeeper, because Ivan Toney, as could Dwight, as I say, put it either side within inches of the post.
And Ivan Toney, that's why he only takes 2 paces. I mean, it's kind of like muscle memory. He's only taking 2 paces because if it was any more, he might miss the ball. I mean, he's not going to go at the edge of the box and run as fast as he can and hit it.
Without looking at the ball.
It's because he's got a specific 2 paces that means that he doesn't have to look at the ball. He's 100% convinced in his mind he's probably done this 100,000 times, and that's why he doesn't have to look at the ball. But that takes a lot of trust, I tell you.
Let's take a look at the odds, shall we? It's who's going to win the Euros. We're down to 4 teams now. Spain taking on Germany on Tuesday, and then it's the little matter.
Taking on Germany?
Oh, no, sorry. Spain are taking on France.
Oh.
Spain, Germany was the other round.
I was just wondering.
England, meanwhile, taking on the Dutch. For the Germans around you, Archie, are they just hoping at anyone but England?
The Germans don't really hate England, nowhere near as much as the English seem to hate Germany, as I found out through countless number of songs that have been sung around me this tournament. Germany's main rivals traditionally are the Netherlands and Italy, but I think the thing that the Germans find offensive about England is the style of football that's being played. Yeah. The amount of messages I have had sent my way about ridiculous doses of luck that England have had and how they should be nowhere near the semi-finals has made it all the sweeter that England have then got further than Germany in the tournament. But yeah, I can see what they mean. It's just that I think in club football we're so used to seeing teams play their way, or the top teams play their way into the box and create opportunities that way. And you think about the way England have scored their goals this tournament. A long throw with a beautiful finish. I'd say Tony Pulis football turned up to the highest volume. And then you've got 2 deflected crosses, a long-range shot, and another shanked shot, which is not exactly the most confidence-boosting way of scoring your goals, but it's working, and I'm not going to complain about the result so far.
Winning is the deodorant of the game.
Exactly. And that's it, obviously. If England...
all bad smells, Micah.
If England...
Does, mate, you're correct.
if England beat the Dutch and then win in the final, Oggy, deodorant will be used perfectly because no one will care how they played.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, England have got to the semi-finals. They've probably had about 4 good minutes in the tournament, and that is the reality of it, isn't it? They've really ground their way to the semis, but I think we're getting to the point now where semi-finals is just about par for Gareth Southgate and this team, because that's where people think they should be if they get to the final. I think even if they lose, he'll kind of be forgiven a little bit for what happened before, but he's not getting the most out of this team. He's not getting the best out of this team, and it is a bit of a worry. You've got a lot of elite world-class players, and you've got a coach who's probably championship level, lower league, Premier League. I don't know. I mean, I just think this great generation of players is not being utilised by a good enough coach, and I think that's partly the reason why the football's not great, because he doesn't know what to do with these players. He doesn't know how to get the key players in. He should know how to get Cole Palmer at the team, because Cole Palmer makes a difference. He's like, he reminds me of Florian Wirtz a little bit in the sense that he just does things that you don't expect. He runs forward with the ball. He makes things happen. He doesn't play like he's playing in a formulaic system. He's just got a bit of the street footballer about him. Yep. And Southgate doesn't like that. It seems he wants people that he knows what they're going to do. He knows exactly where they're going to be, and it is boring to watch. But if England win the Euros, I don't think anybody's ever going to remember that, are they? They'll say, well, they won the Euros, but you know, at least they're playing a Dutch team that's not great. It's not the greatest Dutch team we've ever seen, but so he's got a chance to get into the final. I think, you know, the Dutch have finished third in the group and they've had a soft path to the semis, so it's all there for England, but it would be good for at some point for them to play well.
That's exactly what the English population think like, what Oggy just said then. That's the frustration. Everybody's thrilled that they got to the semi-finals. Everybody hopes that we're going to win. But everybody wants them to play better and utilise the talent that they've got. You know, if Cole Palmer doesn't play, everybody will be like, why isn't he on the pitch again? You know, why isn't he there? If he carries on with the same back four or... You know, it will drive people mad. That's the frustrating part about it. But we're all behind him. Yeah. We're all thrilled to bits that he got there.
He's not going to change, Maka. We've said this a billion times. He's not going to wake up on Wednesday morning.
The first 75 minutes until he made the 3 panic changes, England hadn't had a shot on target.
No.
So if that doesn't tell you we need to change, apart from the 4 games previous, that's what we all want.
Oggy, we'll let you go. Where are you, by the way, Mark?
I'm on Gab's balcony in Berlin.
What a treat!
Yeah.
Is he in?
It's just overlooking the Brandenburg Gate. No.
What was that
I don't know what it
noise?
is, actually. It's probably entertaining, you know, the diplomats or something in Berlin. I don't know.
Of course, it'll be boring someone somewhere with a story.